I'm here with film critic Sean Burns. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So today we're checking in on the early summer box office, and so far there appears to be a very clear trend. YouTube is in, franchises are kind of out, and so are horror movies, which are very in. Talk about the success of Obsession and Backrooms.
I mean, it's great. It's really heartening to see as someone who has devoted his life to film. I think we're seeing a sort of a generational shift with a new guard of filmmakers coming up, and it's about time that these franchises got their marching orders. You know, we've been watching some of these series of films for 50 years, and it's nice to see young people taking control of the art and telling their own stories.
Yeah, I mean, do you think with the younger crowd, there's really kind of that shift where they want more original stories?
Or they want something that's theirs. I mean, like superheroes are their parents' movies, and Star Wars movies are their grandparents' movies. So when you see these YouTube phenomenons, I mean the and like Backrooms was generally a YouTube series before the movie's basically an adaptation of YouTube short, but Obsession is an original horror film. It's just made by someone whose background was on YouTube and not at Sundance, which is interesting. The shift there as Sundance closes down in Utah and heads to Colorado, and it's really sort of petered out as a force in the indie world.
Yeah, and I guess on the opposite, the polar opposite side of it, like on you have films like The Mandalorian, Grogu, Star Wars, as you kind of cited, Masters of the Universe, although which I think a lot of fans like that movie, it completely flopped. Why do you think audiences just didn't they weren't there for these movies?
Well, Masters in the Universe. I mean, I've heard it's actually good. I'll never know. I'm not going to go see it. But you want to talk about a film made for nobody. I mean, it was a cartoon when I was a little kid. And I mean, the cartoon was invented to sell toys. It was reverse engineered. Like, we have this line of toys here, make a
Yep.
TV show out of it. So it's just always been a commercial. I
So
have to say, I am rejoicing in the failure of The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know if you saw it, but
I did go see it with my son and nephews, yes. I thought it was okay. Basically like four four Mandalorian episodes kind of slapped together. But as far as like an actual Star Wars movie, it was pretty disappointing.
I found it contemptuous. It was just it looks cheap, it's lazy, like you said, it's a couple of episodes slapped on the big screen. I mean, you go to a Star Wars movie, everyone remembers the opening shot of Star Wars with like the one ship and then the big ship's chasing it and
Yep.
the big ship and you're just watching and it's this huge eye-popping, extravagant, like you've never seen anything like it. And The Mandalorian starts with four guys sitting around a table.
That's fair. That's fair.
Put a
Um,
little effort into these things. They think if they just slap the name
Star Wars
Star
name
Wars
on
on
it.
it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So, kind of back to the whole horror YouTube part of it. Do you think this is, obviously the YouTube audience right now is massive. Do you think this is a trend that's going to continue where they're taking more talent from YouTube and kind of turning it onto the big screen?
I mean, it's a good way to get your work seen if you can punch through all the noise. This Curry Barker who made Obsession, that, was his route, like his previous film, instead of going the festival route, he just threw it up on YouTube. And that's how he got the following and the financing to make. I mean, Obsession it's a fascinating story. That movie cost $750,000 and it's on track to make at least 200 million at the rate it's going. And the box office for that, what's interesting is that the first 3 weeks it kept going up. And movies never do that. They usually drop by about 50% in the second weekend and then taper off sharply. And this one, it was such a word of mouth sensation.
Yeah, you haven't seen like anything like that in a long time.
Yeah,
Usually
it
it's
never
like that.
happens. I think the last time a movie went up in its second week, it was Top Gun Maverick. But I mean, before that, it was a long time. So people really like it. Now, have you seen it yet?
No, I kind of read, here and there because, chances of me seeing that right now are probably fairly slim, but, I kind of wanted just to get a better understanding of what it was about and what he was offering.
Well, it's interesting because, it's about this kid and he makes a wish. He has this crush who doesn't like him back. And so he makes a wish on this magic stick that she'll love him more than anything else. And boy, he should have worded that differently. And it's interesting generationally because I don't feel like it's how someone my age would have approached the story. It's the teenager, they're very concerned about issues of consent and their appearance to the other kids because immediately all the friends are like, there's something wrong with this girl and you're taking advantage of her. And he's worried about how he's being perceived. And none of those are issues that would occur to the Gen X version of this comedy. It would have been just like a raunchy thing. Whereas, so it's interesting to see a younger filmmaker with a different generational angle. And I think the conversations that the movie is starting are why it's fueling. I mean, it's very scary and it's really funny. I mean, it's more funny than scary, if you ask me. But I do think it's an interesting conversation piece. It's sort of I call it like the Zoomers' fatal attraction.
I'll have to check it out. Um, and we're citing kind of franchise fatigue, but Toy Story 5 is coming out this weekend. It's everything I've read, it's on track to break records. Is this kind of an anomaly because it's a family film, or do you think maybe this is the spark toward, what Hollywood is used to in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have the Toy Story movies are going to be a license to print money as long as they keep making them. What's really disturbing though, I saw this one and the toys sound so old. I mean, it's guys in their 70s voicing the
Yeah, that's
toys.
true.
And some of them they had to get different voices because the actors died. They've been doing this for 31 years, but
Yeah, it's true.
it adds a layer of pathos to the old toys being outstepped by technology, and they sound like wheezy elderly men.
Woody's
So
got
I
to,
don't
as
know how long they're going to keep doing it, honestly, but as long as they can make a buck out of it.
long as they're making money, right?
Yeah, and I mean the franchises are going to continue because that's what Hollywood's built for. We've got another Spider-Man in a couple of weeks, and I
Right.
mean the fluke hits. They're flukes, and what you're going to see, I think, is like everyone's just going to start throwing money at every young director who's on the internet right now. There's a gold rush mentality. I don't know if you remember when the Blair Witch Project came out in '99, but
Yeah.
after that, there were scores of handheld, low budget horror movies people were putting into theaters, and none of them really caught on until Paranormal Activity, which was almost 10 years later.
Yeah, I feel like the horror genre, they always kind of say it reflects kind of what society you're in at that any given time. And, maybe this is kind of where they were in like the 70s or maybe the 90s at times. I don't know. But
Well, yeah, I mean, well, first of all, horror is really resilient theatrically because everyone wants to go and see it with a bunch of people so they can all scream and have that thing. I mean, even when movie attendance was in the gutter after the pandemic, the horror movies were still doing
doing
huge
well.
business. But yeah, it's also this generation in particular seems to be gravitating towards horror, but it's really kind of the only way I think you can make sense of the world they've been dealt. If you horror films about these awful, inexplicable things happening every day, and if you open up the newspaper, or well, they don't read newspapers, but if you,
Swipe open the phone.
yeah, it's sort of the I wouldn't know how else to explain being alive in 2026 other than a horror movie.
What does the rest of the summer look like, box office wise?
Oh, the big story is going to be the Odyssey because you have this giant 3-hour R-rated IMAX extravaganza based on a poem by the Homer cinematic universe. I don't know if I mean it's such a big swing, and I haven't seen that one yet, but I really hope it connects because I have a lot of faith in Christopher Nolan after Oppenheimer, and
Yeah,
people seem so excited.
do you think it's gonna have Oppenheimer, Barbie type numbers?
I assume at least for the beginning. I mean, the anticipation seems to be through the roof. So if the movie's good enough to get the word of mouth the way Oppenheimer and Barbie did, then it could be a huge juggernaut. I mean, I imagine it certainly looks good. I hope it's great. And it's exciting to see him using these old photochemical film processes. There was a whole special on 60 Minutes showing them cutting the negative of the film.
Oh.
And my nephew sent me that, and he was like, "Oh, look what they're doing with the negative." I'm like, "Yeah, they did that with every movie up until about 2000. That used to be how we made these
Thanks
things."
a lot, George Lucas.
Right?